Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to learn about the prototype pattern. So a prototype is a kind of object that takes its initial state and properties out of existing objects. The main idea is to avoid having to manually create an object and assign properties to it from another object. Okay, so what I want to say is that first let us understand the prototype. Okay, so let's say first person is an object. Let's say name. And let's say there is a function read. All right. Now what we will do is we will create an object out of it. So let's say that const lucky equals to object dot create person. So by this what we are doing is we are creating a new object using the person prototype. Okay. So what exactly is a prototype? See, prototype means the first ever creation of anything. Okay. So here for this object, the person object is the first creation, which defines the basic structure. Okay. So what happens is that lucky variable is assigned this person prototype. So what happens is that this will be the basic structure for it. Now you can manipulate, let's say, equals to something, and you can manipulate this object according to your needs. Now you understood what is a prototype. All right. So now we will know how to implement this prototype pattern in Typescript. All right. So let's say first define an interface. Interface. Let's say let's take an example of a cricketer. Cricketer prototype. This will surely have a clone method, which will always return cricketer prototype, and this will have an introduce method. We can add our own methods, but clone method is necessary. Others I'm just adding, let's say introduce method so that the cricketer will introduce method. So let's now do some implementations of this interface. Let's say class ms Dhoni implements cricketer prototype. And now let me implement this. So a clone method. Before this, what I'm gonna do is let me run this. I'm gonna create some fields. Let's say private strike rate number, private rating back number, and this will have a constructor. So stack rate, batting rating, this dot stack rate, and this dot. So by this, what we are doing is we are assigning the values. When this object will be instantiated, values will be assigned to its fields. Okay. Now let's implement this clone method, which is the very important part. So let's say once clone equals to object dot create msdoni dot prototype, or none. Just an exceptional handling. So now object dot get own property names this. So before moving ahead, let me tell you what I did just now. So get own property names, as you can see, return the names of the own properties of an object. Okay. What is that object? This. Now, what is this keyword? See, this keyword refers to the object. Function is the property of. And this will only work for this regular functions and not arrow functions. So with these regular functions, when we are using this keyword, so this keyword refers to the object for which this function is property. So this function is property of which object? This object. Okay, this MS Dhoni object. So it is referring to this. Okay, now you understood how this keyword works in JavaScript. So this will return an array. Now let's say math. This will take a key string and clone key equals to this key. What we are doing is in the cloned object, we are adding the key and values from the current object. Okay, and now what I am going to do is this clone method will return the cloned object. Okay, and this introduce method is very simple. Okay, let's make it public. Console.log mst captain. Very simple. What we can do is say strike rate, this strike rate, and rating, this dot rating. Okay, fair enough. And now, in the same way, you can create as much implementations as you want. Now, what I'm going to do is const mst. This will be a make it a prototype. New MS Dhoni that takes parameter strike rate. Let's say 112 and the batting rating, let's say 99. And mst.clone or introduce. As you can see, guys, sorry, this clone method return the cricketer prototype itself, and there we have the introduce method. Should we run this code? Sometimes this goes away. Anyway. If we run this, as you can see, we can see our output. So this is how prototype pattern works. Now we shall go to all of this from the starting. So first we define this interface to get a prototype. Whenever you are using the prototype pattern, this clone will always be there. Okay. And you do the implementations of that interface. After the clone, you can add any other methods as much as you want. That is up to you. Now we set some fields. Those will be added to the object through this constructor. After this, what we do is we implement this clone method. This clone method, here this get own property names, and this once again this is referring to this object, and then we are assigning the keys. Okay, and then this introduce method. After this, we can use our prototype. So this is how it works. Now we will see that where and all we have to use this. So the interview questions will be like, when do we use the prototype pattern? Sorry. So when do you use it? You use when you have a bunch of objects and want to clone them at runtime. So let's say you got few objects like this Twitter object, or we created one personal object. So what you want to do is you want to clone them for some reason. Okay, you want to have copies of those objects. Maybe you want to use them in another object, or maybe you just want to persist the state. So for that reason, you can use it. And the second reason is that you want to avoid using the new operator directly. Okay, so there are many cases when you will not want to use the new operator. So what you will do is in this case, you want to call the clone method to get a copy instead of using the new operator again and again, and then instantiate the classes again and again. It might become expensive sometimes. So that's why these two are the reasons you might be using the prototype pattern. Okay, this pattern is not much used, so not so many questions will be asked for this. Now, what we can do is there any real world examples? Okay, so one more interview question will be, is there any real world examples? So see, the real world example is the prototype inheritance, prototypal inheritance. This is a feature in JavaScript and TypeScript both. So here the prototype pattern is being used under the hood. Yeah, this is pretty much it. These are the interview questions that will be asked. This pattern is not much used so much, so not much questions will be asked. But yeah, in case this is being asked, this is it. Thanks everyone. We will meet in next video.